Hello, 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 and welcome to Courageously You with Martha. I am your host, Martha Davis Alexander. I am a recovering attorney, a certified fearless living coach, a money coach, and a money breakthrough business coach. Wow, that's a mouthful to say that I have a lifetime experience and I love sharing my stuff and guests. And today I have a guest for you guys. This is one of my favorite guys in the networking arena that I've been in. Martin Salama is known as the architect of the Warriors Life Code. And we're going to talk about life in just a minute. Welcome, Martin.
Oh, thank you so much, Martha. And you are one of my favorite people, too, that I've met through this networking world we're in.
Thank you. So I'm going to tell a little bit more about you, Martin, because I want our peeps to listen up. Martin specializes in helping people who are frustrated with their life. Does that sound familiar to anybody out there? Quickly shift their mindset to uncover their greatness so they can live their true potential and enjoy life. An example of what he's achieved is a client like Roberta, who lost her six-figure job due to COVID. Man, that is a familiar story, isn't it, Martin? And came to Martin depressed and felt very lost. Within a short time, she had, quote, direction, focus, and a renewed energy around all the possibilities she could pursue. And she was getting back on track to enjoy life. So the key to Martin's success, do y'all want to know that? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, I hear you. Y'all want to know that. Is he's mastered the ability to live incredibly full every day. L.I.F.E. Get it? Life, live incredibly full every day. I love that. That is just so clever. Which he turned into the acronym LIFE and created Warriors Life Code coaching program. Now, here's the thing. One of my favorite quotes from Martin is go from worrier to warrior. And that's what he teaches people to do. And I'm so excited to have him on. Welcome, 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 Martin.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And by the way, Roberta is somebody that they can meet next week. We'll get into that a little later.
Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So tell me, how'd you get started, Martin? Sorry. We're going to talk about building your emotional strengths. Martin's got 4 simple steps to keep your feelings from ruling your actions. What?
Yep.
Now, let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, to talk about that, we kind of got to figure out how did I come up with it and why? Why did I come up with it, right?
Yeah, tell me.
So let me go back to my childhood. It's important. As you and I have had conversations before off air about how much our childhood affected us. So when I was 10 years old, I was walking home from school with one of my 4 older sisters. And we were walking up the block, and all of a sudden we saw the school bus standing in front of our house, and the bus driver was standing outside the bus. My sister and I, we don't know what's going on. All of a sudden we see my mother run out of the house with my brother Michael, who was 5 years old, in her arms, jump in the car and drive away. We're like, what the heck is going on? As we get closer, we see the bus driver is crying. What happened was, I found out, is that when Michael got off the bus, he dropped something in front of the school bus.
No.
The bus driver didn't see him, and he drove. Unfortunately, 4 days later, Michael succumbed to his injuries and passed away. And it was so devastating to me. This was like a defining moment in my life. I couldn't wait to have a brother. And just like that, I lost him.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, he was going to be like my partner in crime. We were going to do everything together.
Yeah.
And just like that, he was gone. And at 10 years old, you sort of take the blame, you take the responsibility. And being the only boy, I told myself a story that now my job is to make my parents happy. Because they're in a state of tragedy, trauma. And I had nobody said this to me, and I'm a 10-year-old, and that's what I'm thinking. So overnight, I became a people pleaser. And this is something that stayed with me for the next 40 years.
Yeah. You make those decisions when you're a kid and they just stay with you until you choose something else, right?
Yeah.
Things just that, and it doesn't have to be that dramatic. I mean, that's a mind-blowing story, Martin. I am so sorry.
Thank you.
And I can see how the mantle of people pleaser and fixer came part of who you were.
Right. And I learned, it took me 40 years to learn this, but when you become a people pleaser, you also, in my case, I became a control freak.
Yeah.
I took everything personally, and I had a very short temper. Because if everything wasn't going exactly as I thought it should go so that I could please everybody else, then I had to keep fighting until it was about me always being right.
Oh.
Because I wanted to make sure that everybody else was going to be happy. And this continued. This was how I was as a child, and it continued when I got married. So imagine this: I have my parents that I'm trying to please, and I have my wife I'm trying to please. What happens when you spin all these plates? It's crazy.
That doesn't always work very well.
Really work. And it was a tough thing. And I ended up realizing much later in life that I was pleasing no one, especially not myself.
Mm.
So now let's fast forward to the wonderful year of 2008. Right? You remember that year?
I do. I'm not sure that the wonderful year of 2008 is how I would term it.
I'm actually using it sarcastically. All right. So
and let's go to 2008. Let's revisit that disaster of a year.
So let's talk about that. So for the 4 or 5 years before that, my wife and I were working on a project to build a multi-million-dollar health club and tennis center down by the Jersey Shore. And we had put in all of our money waiting for the approvals to come in from the city and the state and everything.
Yeah.
And finally, in August of 2008, we get all the approvals. Okay, great. Now I'm going to get back my investments. My investors are going to be happy. I can start building because I was ready. I got the engineering ready so we could just, boom, go in the ground. Go to the bank. They're like, yeah, we're not lending. I'm like, what do you mean you're not lending? Yeah, the world's about to fall apart. Comes a month later, September 2008, the world falls apart. I lose absolutely every penny I have. All of my investors' money, the money I borrowed from family, friends, every penny. So I felt the effects of that. And I went into depression for about a year. And it was understandable that I was like that. And I finally started to get out of it. And I said, okay, now what do I want to do with my life? And I looked back over my last 50 years. I was almost 50 at this point. And I said, the thing I loved doing most was being involved in community projects and being the head of community organizations. And I loved about it was I was a leader and I was able to coach people. I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, but I would coach people to get the most out of them to make whatever we were doing that much greater. So I said, you know what? I'm going to become a life coach. Cool. This is great. I'm getting my life back on track.
Fabulous.
Comes to our 24th wedding anniversary. And my wife says, I want a divorce. I'm like,
yikes.
Oh my God. And I didn't get you anything like that for our anniversary.
On your anniversary?
On our anniversary.
Wow.
So boom.
That's a gift.
Boom. There I go again. Right back down. But I'd already made this decision to become a life coach. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do it. And in the back of my mind, there was a part of me that said, maybe this will save my marriage.
Oh.
Because I have to say, going through it all and looking back now, I was afraid of being divorced. I was afraid of being alone. I thought nobody would ever love me. And that's because I didn't love myself. So how could I think anybody else was going to love me? You know, these are all things that came out later. I can't say that I felt them right there. I blamed everybody. I blamed myself. I said I took 100% of the blame of the marriage falling apart. Then comes the first weekend of going to coaching training. And they go, we're not going to teach you on how to coach anybody yet. We got to first figure what's going on in your life. And that weekend changed my life. And it started me becoming Martin 2.0. And that's when I realized all those things, that I was a people pleaser and that I took everything personally, especially when I read the book, The 4 Agreements.
The 4 Agreements?
Yeah. Did you ever read that book?
I have not. Should
I? Read it. It's fantastic. So agreement number 2 is don't take anything personally. I read that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I've never heard that before. Meantime, everybody's been telling me this my whole life. But until that moment, I wasn't ready to hear it. And it was as if this guy Don Miguel Ruiz had just flipped on the light in Dodger Stadium. And I was like, oh, I don't have to take everything personally. And with that also came, I don't have to be a control freak. And I don't have to freak out. I don't have to react to everything like a nuclear reactor. And they fall out all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a pretty powerful weekend for you.
Yeah. I mean, of course, it took a while for all of that.
It takes a long time to actually settle in and become a part of the fabric of your skin.
Yes.
But I'm going to guess a lot of your story is really relatable to the audience, right? The going solo media, they're either getting divorced, are divorced. Some are married. Some want to get divorced, right? But everybody has those moments in their life where they just hit that place where they're like, what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Look how publicly correct I was about that.
Yeah.
What the heck, right? Where am I going to go from here and stop kicking me when I'm down?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. And, you know,
So
going through that stuff, I realized that I was in a very codependent relationship the entire time with my wife. And it was mostly because I was always trying to please her. And this is something I wrote a book about 10 years ago called Recovering from Divorce. And while I was writing it, I realized that I loved her more than she loved me. And as a result, the one that loves less has the control in the relationship. Because the one that loves more is trying to get them to love them as much.
Yeah, fair statement. I can go with that.
Okay, thank you.
So you have to think about it.
Well, yeah, but I don't regret being married to her for 25 years because we actually made it to our 25th anniversary before we divorced. And
you have children.
I have 4 beautiful children, 8 gorgeous grandchildren that I die for. I love them. And so, and we had a lot of many good years, but realizing going through coaching, our values were never aligned.
Oh.
And if I had known that 25 years earlier, who knows? But I'm not going back. I'm just saying, who knows where I would have been.
Yeah, no, can't go back. And it's interesting to note for anyone thinking about getting married that here's a pro tip that's not even on the menu today. Check your values. Make sure that your values are in sync. Know what your values are. Know what your potential partner's values are. And make sure that they line up. Because if they don't, it could create issues.
Right. So how do you figure out your values? Well, a great way to do that is with coaching. So just a little plug for coaching there. But for myself, after I went through the divorce, I started coaching around recovering from divorce. I did that for a few years. Then I looked in the mirror and I wasn't very happy with what I looked like. It was the heaviest I ever was in my life. And I realized I wasn't practicing what I was coaching. So I started to eat better, work out, listen to better things, and I lost 65 pounds. But with that came a better sense of self and a better self-awareness and self-love. And then I started dating. And one day I was in the middle of dating, whatever thing on my working on myself, I had this download of life that I wanted to show people how to live incredibly full every day. So
I want you to say that. I want you to say that slower. Live
incredibly full every day. Wake up in the morning, have gratitude to the universe, to God, whatever it is that you look at as your higher power. Write 3 things down even and say, this is what I'm grateful for. Yeah. And then get up and say, my mantra is, I'm going to live incredibly full every day.
So guys, that's a writer downer. I don't say that very often, but live incredibly full every day. And you can remember it because the acronym LIFE, right? Live incredibly full every day is a writer downer and something to adopt as your own motto, because it really is a beautiful statement. Live every day fully, presently. For me, that would be with love in your heart and fun.
Exactly.
And
whatever it means to each person individually, there's a different meaning for every one of us.
And how cool is it, guys, that Martin actually is the architect of that, of the Warrior's Life Code. How cool is that? It's just so incredibly cool. Okay, Martin, tell us about it. Tell us more.
Okay. So one of the things I realized is that as a result of all those things, that I was letting my emotions control me instead of me controlling my emotions. Right?
I've done that.
Guy with a short temper that overreacts to the point of being a nuclear reactor means that he shoots first and asks questions later.
Yeah.
Right. So I said, okay, let's ask questions, and then if you need, then you shoot. But
yeah, so we're a lot alike, Martin. I think we've discovered that before.
Absolutely. How do you think we got here?
Yeah,
so that's for sure.
We're a lot alike.
But just to go back a second, so now I started dating, and we were talking about values. And when I was going on dates, the women didn't even realize that I was asking them questions about their values without them knowing that that's what I was doing.
Oh, give me an example of a question that would know my value.
So we're out on a date and we're talking to say, well, how do you feel about family or, community or communication, different things that were very strong on my list. Right. Oh. So I'm dating for a few years, and I get a call from, in my community, we have matchmakers. And this was a woman who called me right after my divorce and said, okay, let's get you out there. So I'm like, okay, whatever. She calls me and goes, you have to take out this woman. She's unbelievable. I'm like, okay, if you say so. So after 1 or 2 days, she's like checking off every one of my values, like in spades. Like, this is crazy. I mean, I'd gone out on other dates, and 1 or 2 dates I knew that it just wasn't going to work. And after a month, I turned to her and I said, I got to tell you something. And I don't need to hear anything from you, but I just want you to know that I'm falling in love with you, because I see in front of me a person who's got the values I'm looking for and recognizes me for who I am. And I'm not looking to change you, and you're not looking to change me.
That's beautiful.
And 2 weeks later, she told me she loves me. 2 years later, we got married, and it's been 4 years almost.
Beautiful. Congratulations. I love that story.
Thank you.
Love
but here's what happened in 2020. What happened in 2020? Another wonderful year.
Yeah, 2020, man. 2020.
So COVID hits, and it's May. It's right around this time. And everybody around me is looking like Chicken Little. The sky is falling.
Yes.
Right? Everyone's like, the sky is falling. I'm like, where? I don't see it. Why am I not seeing the sky falling? Why am I not worried? And everybody's worried.
Yes.
I realized the last 10, 12 years of going through every crap I went through prepared me for anything, even COVID. And I got into Facebook and I said, guys, I get it. I see where you are. And I want to show you how to go from being worried to being a warrior.
I love that.
And that's where the warrior to warrior came from.
I love that. That's another writer downer, you guys. Martin just has them all over the place, right? Go from warrior to warrior. Who doesn't? Right. Who wouldn't rather be a warrior instead of a warrior?
Right. So to me, a warrior is somebody who's gone through adversity. You know anybody that's gone through adversity?
I don't know anyone who hasn't gone through adversity.
Right. But how they come out of adversity.
Absolutely.
Either a warrior or a warrior.
Yeah.
So which one are they?
I'm a warrior.
Okay.
I want to come out of adversity.
You're a recovering warrior. You are a warrior.
I'm a warrior. I go with the warrior part. And I'm a recovering attorney, Martin.
So now I built all this up to start talking about how do you build your emotional strength. So how did I build it? Because I realized that my emotions and my lack of control was getting me into trouble.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah.
I was the guy that woke up my kids every day in the morning for school. And when they weren't getting on the bus, I'd be outside screaming, wait, they're coming! Wait, the bus is coming! Every parent on the block knew me.
I can see that. That is awesome. Awesome.
Because that was me freaking out on my kids. Get out here, there, Mr.
Yeah, that's good.
That was me.
That also sounds familiar.
If my kids were here listening now, they'd say, "Yeah, that was Daddy."
Yeah, that was Dad.
So I looked at those things and many other examples. I'm like, yeah, okay. Now that I understand that I have to take things personally, what does that mean? It means I don't have to be the hovering parent. It means I don't have to be there to make sure they never fall, because they gotta fall. They gotta fail.
And it makes you know that they're powerful and they can learn from their stuff the same way we did. I love that. So when we come back, you guys, we have to take a short break. As much as I don't want to leave this discussion with Martin, and neither do you, we're going to dance a little jig to the commercial music. We're going to look at really pretty jewelry. This is Courageously You with Martha. I'm Martha Davis Alexander. You can reach me at marthadalexander@gmail.com or at Courageously You Coaching, or if you really want, you can call me or text me at 805-422-6865. And if you want to reach Martin, we have Martin at, and that's MARTIN at thewarriorslifecode.com. That's TheWarriorsLifeCode.com. And just so you know, thewarriorslifecode.com is also his website. So you can reach Martin there. And he has a really special gift that we're going to drop in the second half. So you just make sure y'all come back after these short messages. And we are back and we are live. This is Martha Davis Alexander with Courageously You with Martha. We are on the Going Solo Network. That's WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, the number one internet show in the world, in the universe, in the galaxy. Is the universe bigger than the galaxy? My husband would be so upset with me right now for not knowing that. Whatever. Moving on, the details. It is what it is, right? You guys, today, again, we're talking about build your emotional strength, 4 simple steps to keep your feelings from ruling your actions, with my very special guest, Martin Salama. So, Martin, we are right in it. What are our 4 simple steps?
Okay, so I got to build up to it a little. I got to tell you a little bit about it, you know? So first thing is, this is going to sound like a little bit of a contradiction, but I want you to hear this quote. Allow yourself to really feel your feelings. It's okay to bare your soul, break down, or cry, because through that breakdown comes your breakthrough. That's a quote from somebody named Rashida Rowe. I looked all over to find out who she was. I couldn't find anything out about her, but I like the quote. So I'm using it.
From your breakdown comes your breakthrough.
Yeah.
That's just the last few words, but all of it's true, right? I love feeling into your feelings.
Yeah. So the reason I'm saying that is because here we are talking about emotions and feelings and stuff. And I want you to feel your feelings, but it's how you use them that helps. So let's start off by talking about, before I get into the 4 steps, I want to break down something. I like to help people go from being self-conscious to self-aware. Because to me, there's a difference. And let me tell you what I think the difference is. Self-conscious comes from a place of negative energy. It's a feeling state of guilt, conflict, doubt. Self-awareness comes from a place of positive energy. The feeling's a state of acceptance, commitment, self-assurance.
Mhm.
Self-consciousness comes from outwardly, like to others, and self-awareness is within yourself. Self-conscious, you're trying to make everybody happy. Self-conscious, self-awareness is you're in a state of bliss, a state of contentment that you don't have to make anybody feel anything. It's all about yourself, and you're good with where you are. Okay, so
About yourself in a non-selfish way. So people were not saying it's
yeah,
just
yeah.
about you. We're saying being self-aware is the key, right?
Yes,
It's the
yes.
key to starting. It's the starting point.
Yes, and it's self-conscious is feeding your ego, right? And
Mm.
usually it's your ego that's making you do things you shouldn't do, right?
Dang ego.
And
I flick him off my shoulder.
self-awareness comes from humility, and humility is so much more than the word they've turned it into. Humility is a state of being, of humbleness, of contentment, of just hanging. Hang 10 for you out there in California. So anyway.
That's right.
So now,
Kind of like you and I are right now. We're hanging. We're
All right.
content.
All right. So now let's go into the whole heart of this. And now that you get that idea, so how much should how you feel impact what you do? Right. So if you look now, you don't look very further than the 11 o'clock news. You see the consequences of unchecked feelings.
Yes.
Yeah. Just the outside world the outside world is just a reflection of what happens so often inside each one of us. So what are we to do with our feelings? Ignoring them or serving them is not a good option. Both extremes lead to momentum, lost momentum, unnecessary harm, and confusion. So how do we feel? So let me get my breath there. So how do we feel our feelings without letting them rule or wreck our lives? So that's where the 4-step process comes in. So first thing is, there's a difference between emotions and feelings. Okay? If people think they're really the same thing, and they're not. Emotions tell us what we like and dislike, where feelings tell us how to live. Emotions state there are good and bad actions, and feelings state there's a right and a wrong way to be. Emotions establish our initial attitude towards reality. The feelings establish our long-term attitude towards reality. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but just to give you an idea, joy is an emotion. Fear is an emotion. Happiness is a feeling. Worry is a feeling. Enthusiasm and emotion. And you're going to get a chart that's part of the gift that I'm going to give you, showing the difference between emotions and feelings. All right?
Yeah.
And that chart is called the vocabulary of emotions and feelings. All right? And the way that looks, is you can't see it, but it's across the top. You'll see happiness, caring, depression, inadequate, fear, confusion, loneliness, anger, a bunch of them. And then going down the list, you'll see strong, medium, and light types of feelings. For example, let's say you're feeling anger. So what kind of anger are you feeling? Are you feeling burned up? Are you feeling enraged? Or are you feeling medium, like belittled or cheapened or criticized or
annoyed,
like let down?
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, total.
Okay.
I'm following you.
Cool. So that's number one. So the idea is, now that we understand that, there's 4 steps, and guess what? The 4 steps use 4 different letters.
No way.
Guess what the letters are?
L-I-F and E.
Yes, that's right. So
winner,
chicken dinner. So L, listen. I, identify. F, find. And E, engage. So I'll go a little deeper now. L, listen to your inner voice and acknowledge your feelings. Okay. I, identify your feelings. F, find out why. Question your feelings. Like, as a lawyer, cross-examine your feelings to yourself and say, why am I feeling this?
I love to cross-examine. It's one of my favorite skills.
There you go. And then E, engage and change and take action.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So let's break it down.
Okay.
Step 1, listen to your emotions. L, give yourself permission to feel. Detach the need to act or judge. Okay, So your emotion says, oh my God, I'm so angry, right? But what kind of anger are you? So give yourself to feel that anger. And don't say, should I feel anger? Should I jump out and kill somebody? Whatever. Don't just feel the anger.
Yeah.
And then comes the next part. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Be specific and write it down. And you'll get, as a gift, a worksheet to write down. Here's the question I asked, and write down, what am I feeling? Write down your answers. Okay? So then the next is to identify your feelings. Take out that chart that you're going to get with the gift and say, okay, it's anger. Is it rage anger? Is it middle of the anger? Or is it just kind of like, I'm a little pissed off? Go deeper and build your vocabulary, because when you put words to it, now it's starting to take hold of it, right? Because you're allowing yourself to go through the process. And it's funny, people always say, oh, coaches, they don't want you to be angry. No, that's not what it's about. We're not all about peaches and cream and happy. It's okay to be angry, but it's what you do with the anger that makes the difference.
Yeah, I always tell my clients feelings are not right or wrong. They're not good. They're not bad. They're feelings.
Right.
Feel it and process it so you can let it go.
Right. So now if you take those feelings and they'll help, and you build a vocabulary around them, that will help you more fully understand about how you're feeling.
Yeah, I love that, because most people don't understand. We're not taught to feel our feelings and to identify what our feelings are. So that's beautiful. I love that chart.
Right. Which leads us to number 3, find out why. Cross-examine your feelings. Test and evaluate your feelings to determine their validity. Okay. Ask yourself questions like, why am I feeling this way? Should I be feeling this way? Are they helping me or harming me to feel this? And how am I doing it?
Can I add a question?
Yeah.
Are there any assumptions I am making in these facts?
Oh my God, I love it. That's getting added to my deck right here.
What assumptions am I making? Right? What assumptions am I making?
And for me, it's, am I taking things personally?
Yeah.
You know, that was a big thing for me, because lots of times it would be, it's not really about me. It's about them. And they just happen to be projecting it on me.
Yeah. Or is it true? Am I making it up? Right? Have I totally made up this fact scenario?
That's right.
Based upon my own story.
Exactly. You don't know what's going on in their world right then and there.
Right.
Just like they don't know what's going on in your world. So then here comes E. Engage and change and take action.
Engage, change, and take action.
Right. So review your answers. Go through the list and say, okay, what happened? Say, I was angry. And I'll give you an example. Let me just go through this, and then I'll give you an example of my own personal life. Okay. So determine right now what you're going to do and how you'll feel about it once you make those changes. So what can I do right now to make a change? And schedule it in your calendar. Say, by this time tomorrow or next week, whatever it is, I'm going to make the change. Right? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So we went, listen to your inner emotion and voice and acknowledge your feelings. Identify your feelings. Find out why by questioning yourself and cross-examining yourself, and engage and change. So now, let me tell you a story about myself that would, especially because we're in the going solo world that we're talking, that will make a difference, or that could mean something for the people here. Mm-hmm. So I'm divorced about 2 years, maybe a little more. And my son is getting married.
Oh no!
And in my community, before the Saturday before, I'm Jewish, Orthodox Jewish, just so let everybody know. Saturdays I shut down electronics and all that. So the Saturday before, and by now I've moved back to my old. I lived in New Jersey. I moved back to my old neighborhood in Brooklyn. So it's about an hour drive, which I don't do on Saturday. So my son went home for the weekend before his wedding. His wedding was on a Wednesday, and we were talking about having a lunch for him. That's what they do. So I didn't know anything. My wife made a lunch for him, and they went up into the synagogue and got a special thing, went to the Torah and all that. And I knew nothing about it. Yeah. So now my son comes home the next day back to Brooklyn, because he was living with me during the week, and he was going to school in New York and whatever, finishing school. He says, Dad, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you weren't invited. I didn't know you weren't going to be there. I'm like, it's not your issue. Now, the old me would have picked up the phone right there and beat the crap out of her over the phone.
Right? Now, I got to tell you, let me just identify my emotions just hearing the story. I'm enraged. I'm pissed off. I'm all the feels. I got all these feels going on, and I wasn't even in part of it.
But then I said, wait a minute. What's going to happen if I do that? Right? The wedding is in 2 days.
I will feel a lot better.
Yeah, I will feel a lot better.
Yeah.
But my son will be on edge. My ex will be on edge. And there's no question that the rest of my children and everybody in the family will hear, oh, Martin did his thing and he blew up and he freaked out and all that.
Yeah.
So who am I serving at that moment? Myself and my ego.
Your ego. Yeah, totally your ego.
Totally my ego.
And
so
justice and fairness, but okay.
Right. So I said, what am I feeling? I'm enraged. I'm upset. I'm angry. Should I feel this way? Am I feeling? So I went L.I.F., find out why, figure out why. Okay. Am I being harmed? Yes, I am being harmed. But what is my course of action? Okay. E, engage and change. But when am I going to engage and change? So I decided to wait until after the wedding. Right? Because I didn't want to ruin my son's night. It's his night.
Yeah.
I didn't need her having a piss party all over everybody, and then him feeling it and everybody else feeling it. And I wasn't going to accomplish anything anyway, right? So I waited until 2 days after the wedding, and I called her in a controlled anger. And I said, this is what you did. This is what you showed my children I mean to them. And I went on for 10 minutes. Whether she heard me or not didn't matter. It really didn't. It was about me taking care of myself at that moment at the right time.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, remember I said I didn't want the divorce and I was afraid? The end of it, I ended it by saying, thank you for divorcing me. At that moment, I realized that it was the best thing to ever happen to me because I was no longer chained to her.
So, couple things, right? Because I'm a child of divorce, and just that thing, right, is stuff. I mean, my law school graduation was the most miserable experience of my life. I didn't go through my high school graduation, didn't go through my college, attempted it in law school thinking that we were all older and more mature and it would be fine. It was miserable. And I wish, right? I so wish that my parents had understood what you just explained, right? How to listen to their feelings, how to identify them, and how to put their ego on hold, not to not be heard, because everyone has to be heard, right? When you've been hurt, it doesn't do you any good to bottle it up inside, but to wait to a time that it didn't impact anybody else was such a beautiful thing, right? That is such a beautiful kind of angry story. Still pisses me off a little bit, but
it was his day.
It was his day, and so
it's just like it was your day. The graduation was your day.
It was.
Put your petty things on the side for 24 hours.
Yeah, put them on the side, and don't ever bring it up to me again. Right? Don't ever bring it up to me again. I don't want to know. Wow, that is such a beautiful description of life, right? The listen to your emotions.
Identify your feelings.
Wait, I'm going to get it. Identify what those emotions are. The F is really interrogating yourself. Find out what is really going on, right? Is it true? Is it not true? Are you making assumptions? What's it really about? What's going on in you, right? To really dig into it. And then E is, engage. Engage, change, right? Take action. What action? How do you want to show up, right? How do you want to show up, and who do you want to be in that, and how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. You're brilliant. Just brilliant. You're just brilliant.
I got a lot more of life things, but those are two of my favorites.
Right? So you guys, and Martin has a gift for you. I can't believe he's offering a gift, but we're going to tell you It is a full webinar with worksheets and extra stuff. So you're going to have to figure that out in order to get the extra stuff. We're not going to tell you what it is. You really don't want to miss this. Now, I got this before and it is phenomenal. Martin gave this to me as a special gift. And it is phenomenal, guys. You get that chart of the emotions and stuff. So take advantage of it. So for those of you who cannot see the screen, I am going to do this a little slowly. So I hope you have pen and paper with you right this second, or your phone. And if you're a millennial, you can type it really fast. http:// and you know what that means, people. The THE Warriors, WARRIORS, Life, LIFE, code, CODE.com, COM. So the warriorslifecode.com // Thank you, Martin. Buys webinar, BYESWEBINAR.
Buys is Build Your Emotional Strength webinar.
Oh, look at that. BYES webinar. Okay. That's after the warriorslifecode.com / BYES webinar. Guys, grab that. No matter when you're listening to it, whether it's a replay or otherwise, Martin is very generous, and however many of you want it, he hasn't limited that. So grab that, Martin. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And let's talk about next week.
Oh yeah, let's talk about it. I'm very excited, you guys. I'm going to be on.
Can we riff a little now, or is it okay?
Well, we have a few minutes.
Okay. So let's talk about next week. You tell them.
So Martin has a summit, and it is Martin, you're going to kill me because I don't have it right.
Entrepreneurs Abundant Life Summit.
Yeah, the Entrepreneurs Abundant Life Summit, the L.I.F.E. Come on, guys. And you know what that means, right? You know what that means. And live incredibly full every day. So it's for entrepreneurs. We're going to live incredibly full. He has 70 speakers. I'm one of them. I'm so excited, you guys. It's going to be, it's 2 days, right?
It's
2 days packed full of how to live life fully. And it's going to be amazing. And
Martha will be speaking at 3:30 p.m. on May 11th, and I will be hosting her.
Yay! Oh, that'll be so exciting. I can't wait. I'm so excited you're going to be my interviewer. That is so fun. We can do this again in reverse.
That's right.
So here's the deal, guys. If you want a free ticket, free for a 2-day event, people, free, you need to email me at marthadalexander@gmail.com. That is marthadalexander@gmail.com. Or you can call me or text me at 805-422-6865. And you guys, it's only free because we want as many people to hear it as possible. There is a VIP upgrade if you want. And all the speakers give free gifts. So you guys are going to get 70 free gifts of things that you can do. So, and helpful things for your life. I know you're going to want my free gift. So you guys, please, 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 please come to the event. Look it up online. It's going to be amazing. And Martin if you've enjoyed Martin and my energy today, this is just what Martin brings all the time. It'll be so much fun. I cannot wait for next week.
How do you live incredibly full every day without this energy?
Right? Living incredibly full every day absolutely takes energy, positive, love, all of that. That's why you guys know that I love Martin. If you want to reach Martin,
I love you too. Please
know. Oh, look at that. You put the summit up there. Did you put mine?
That's your link.
Oh my gosh, you guys, you put my link up there
in the private chat. Should I put it in
chats?
It's in the private chat. So however you want to Put it
Yeah,
into Facebook.
look at that. And look at that. Cece put it up there. So you guys are going to have to see it, and we'll put it maybe in the chat underneath the replay. So you guys, it's going to be amazing. Here's what I want you to know. Martin Salama is an amazing man, an amazing coach. And I don't normally tout other coaches, right? But he is amazing at what he does. And so I would love you guys to reach out to him at Martin at thewarriorslifecode.com, or just go on his website, check him out, and get the free gift for sure, you guys. That will put you on his email. You'll get updates from him. You really do want to reach out to Martin. He's a great guy to talk to and have fun with.
And by the way, Roberta, the woman you talked about in the intro, is a speaker on the summit.
That is amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So you guys, you got to come. It's like family now, right? We're all like a big family. You got to come to the summit and enjoy it. Martin, it has been a pleasure to have you on my show. You and I could talk for hours.
It's been a pleasure to be had by you.
Oh, however that came out, right? All right. And you guys can reach me, Martha Davis Alexander, at marthadalexander@gmail.com, or go to my website, which may change or may not change, at courageouslyoucoaching.com. But it's good for now. So go there for now. Or text me or call me, 805-422-6865. I love getting your emails. Keep them coming. You guys, go to the webinar. Have a phenomenal time. And I will not see you next week at the regularly scheduled time. I am taking a bit of a break, and you will see me the following Thursday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So y'all come back. We'll see you.